Seabird Field on the campus of the University of Minnesota for Section 6 4A baseball championship round matchup here. The top two seeds have advanced to the finals. Number 2 seed Hopkins needs to win 2, and top seed Wayzata needs to win 1 game to advance to the state tournament on a warm and mostly windless day here at Seabird Field as these teams meeting for the 5th time this season. Wayzata's won all 4 previous meetings between the Royals and Trojans, and of course Wayzata defending state 4A champion. Here's a look at the lineup for Jason Michalakis and the Hopkins Royals. Morgan Holmes will catch today and lead off. Kyle Chiriboga plays second base. Then it's the pitcher Ben Wallin. Tommy Oth at first base. Hitting fourth, Luke Poliak. The DH hitting fifth, Joey Swanson in center. Bobby Wilson at third base, Wyatt Nelson in right field, and Rafael Lewis, the shortstop, hitting in the 9 slot for Hopkins. And the defensive alignment for Bobby DeWitt and the Trojans: Sam Westermeyer at third, Keegan Nickel at short, Bobby Isbell at second, Jack Rothstein at first base, Chad Musser, Charles Engdahl, and Danny Dice in the outfield. Tyler Young is the catcher. And Hopkins will go back to their ace, Will Oberg, who shut Hopkins down pretty well earlier in this section tournament. And Oberg, pretty spectacular season for the Trojans. You see he's made 9 starts. He's gotten decisions in 8 of them, and 7-1 in 47 2/3 innings pitched. ERA just over 1, and he has fanned 61 batters in those 47 2/3. And kind of speculating beforehand, whether he would get the call right away in this first game or if they would save him for if there was a game 2. But Bobby DeWitt said no hesitation. We know Hopkins has seen him a couple of times, but he's generally shut him down pretty well. So going to go right away with Oberg here to try and seal it in 1.
Well, you got to go with your gut, and that's what Coach Witt wanted to do. When you've had good success, I think getting a book on somebody or seeing him multiple times doesn't mean quite as much at the high school level as it could be in other spots. Take a look at Seabird Field out there. It's just a beautiful day for baseball. Really great way to spend a June afternoon with 2 Lake Conference schools on a Big Ten baseball diamond. And maybe we'll play 1, maybe we'll play 2 today.
One thing that's a little bit strange about things for Wayzata staying in the winner's bracket is that this is their first game at Seabird Field. The tournament moved over to Seabird for the latter round, starting with a couple of losers bracket rounds. So Hopkins has already played here. They beat Armstrong. And here's Oberg pitching to Holmes. First pitch, did he swing? Yes, he did. That's strike 1. A little interesting, we got Holmes moved up to the top of the order today. He's their best power hitter for sure. He was hitting in the 3rd slot last time when these teams played each other. High chopper to third. Westermeyer up with it, throws across in plenty of time. And Morgan Holmes is retired. Holmes came into the game hitting at .462 with 4 homers. And they felt like he'd be a little harder to pitch around maybe if you get him up there right away. But Oberg able to retire him along with Westermeyer there. Kyle Chiriboga will be the batter.
Kyle playing second base today. Spent some time behind the plate for the Royals as well.
And he hits a tapper back to the mound. Oberg over the field. He throws high, but Rothstein does a nice job of hanging on to the bag. Seemed like a routine play, and Oberg almost airmailed that one, but Rothstein did a nice job to first and foremost catch the ball, but then get that foot back down on the bag as well. And you can see he definitely was out. So Ben Wallin will be the hitter, and if early indications or anything, Rick, it looks as though they've said, let's not fall behind Oberg. Let's jump on the first good thing you see, but it's resulted in 2 quick outs. Slider there for a strike as Wallin stepping in. He is hitting at .290 for the Royals. He has scored 10 runs, knocked in 12. And takes that one for a ball. They had a little bit of success hitting Oberg's breaking ball last time they saw him. I think later in that game he went back to throwing more fastballs. He's got a sharp breaking ball, but Hopkins, obviously they didn't put a lot of runs on the board. They only scored 1, but they did get, I believe it was 6 hits off of him in 6 innings of work, which, you know, they were, I don't want to say they were figuring him out, but they were having some decent at-bats against Will last time anyway.
Well, when you're as dominant as he's been all season, you got to have that good fastball, and having a good breaking ball makes it that much more difficult, but placing that fastball is the most effective pitch you can have.
And a near miss there. So 3 balls and a strike here to Willeen, trying to get something started with 2 outs in the top of the first. Tommy Oth waiting on deck. It's 390 to straightaway center, 330 down the lines here at Siebert Field. Hit hard, and that's a fair ball past third, and Willeen may have extra bases. Makes a big turn, but he's going to hang on. And a pretty good throw back in. Good work in the outfield by Musser to get over and cut that one off. But Ben Willeen will have a 2-out single here for Hopkins down the third base line.
Well, rips it past down the inside the third base line. You can see I was thinking 2 as well, but really nice job to get around the ball and fire that ball into second base. And with 2 outs, he made a good choice to hold up at first.
Tommy Oth is the batter here for Hopkins, their cleanup hitter and first baseman. First pitch swinging here, and he fouls that one back. Oth hitting at an even 300 for the Royals. 467 slugging percentage. He's got 10 runs batted in, 3 doubles, a couple of triples, and a homer. I think they're choosing not to run for Willeen down at first base here. And this one fouled back and out of play.
And of course, with Willeen being the pitcher, they can run for him without subbing anybody in. But I think Ben's pretty fleet of foot, so give him a chance to run as he plays in the field when he's not pitching as well.
And hit hard to third, but Westermeyer fields it on one hop and throws across in time. So Hopkins getting solid contact from their last 2 batters, but nothing to show for it. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left on base here in the top of the first inning. So after 1/2 inning, Hopkins nothing, and Wayzata getting set to come to the plate for the first time. As we've noted in earlier broadcasts, the Royals pitching and defense has been their strength this year, haven't always hit well. They did put up 8 runs the last game against Hopkins, and they've scored well in the postseason. So, you know, maybe not a team with an overpowering amount of offense, but they've definitely had enough to win 16 games. Danny Dice leads it off, and then it'll be Bobby Isbell, the second baseman. Chad Musser in left field hitting third. Oberg is hitting in the 4th spot. Tyler Young, the catcher, hits 5th. Rothstein, the first baseman, hitting number 6. Center fielder Engdahl hits 7th. Westermeyer, who jacked a 2-run homer against Hopkins in the last round. And then Keegan Nickel, the shortstop, hitting in the number 9 spot for Bobby DeWitt and the Trojans. And the defense for Hopkins. Wilson at third, Lewis at short, Chiraboga at second base, Tommy Oth at first, Martin De La Paz in left field, Joey Swanson in center, Wyatt Nelson in right. Holmes is doing the catching, and doing the pitching for Hopkins today is right-hander Ben Willeen. See a little bit of a mixed bag numbers-wise for him, but they, definitely feel like he's one of their best pitchers. The record at 1-5, but an ERA a little over 4. So he's been a little bit up and down, but guy that they trust to come out and give a good effort here in this one here. He's allowed just over a hit per inning, 42 hits in 39 2/3 innings. Walk total is definitely higher than they'd like. He's walked 22 and fanned 30 in his work this year.
Well, and this is a win or go home type game, so your philosophy about pitchers and how long to let them go and when you're going to go to somebody new is very different in a situation like this, especially for Hopkins, which is, like I said, win or go home.
The good thing for these teams is that they should be pretty well rested, obviously Wayzata in particular, but this section has been laid out so that so many times in past you see where you get to the final round and you've got one team, the one that has, was in the loser's bracket, is basically out of pitching. And then sometimes that last game becomes kind of, I don't want to say a joke, but it's not really representative of their teams. But at the same time, you have to, to be prepared for that too. But I like the way this is laid out now. You got some rested teams that should be able to come in and do some things and put their best foot forward here in the section final.
Yep, we got a baseball guy with Dan Johnson, his athletic director at Hopkins, lays out the schedule really well.
Yeah, he's the section manager for this section. Here's Danny Dice stepping in. Dice, a high chopper down to short. And no problem with that one for Lewis. And Dice is quickly out 6-3 on the putout. So both teams showing a willingness to swing early in the count here in this first inning. Nice high hop ball. That's the one thing you love about playing on this field too. You're very unlikely to get a bad hop.
Yeah, we've got turf everywhere in the field except for the home plate area and the pitcher's mound. So like you said, those infielders can wait for that good hop and pick it up and make a routine play.
Bobby Isbell hitting for the Trojans, batting .283 this year, but .421 on base percentage with 12 walks to his credit. 3 doubles, a triple. He's knocked in 12. Hits it to third. Not an easy play, but a nice job by Wilson and guns it across. He made that one look easy. Couple shuffle steps to his right and kind of to a knee a little bit here. And that's a smooth play on a ball that I thought might be trouble.
Yeah, like you said, he got to his right real well, got his knee down almost to try and become a backstop, fielded it cleanly and made a nice strong throw. Take your third baseman and let him use his arm, and he did it well.
Chad Musser hitting now for the Trojans. So like Hopkins, the first 2 hitters have gone out for Wayzata. Musser fouling that one away. He is hitting at .406, one of the top, I believe it is the top average for Wayzata it is this year. And he's been on base at a .493 clip. He's scored 14 runs, driven in 14. So certainly I think would be at least in the running for offensive MVP for the Trojans this year. And he's going to have a base hit here. Diving try at it there for Chiraboga. Maybe I think got the tip of his glove on it, but that one was going to be a base hit anyway at that point. Musser has a 2-out single for the Trojans. So these teams' innings are looking the same here, top and bottom half, as first 2 guys get out. Like he kind of stubbed his glove a little bit there trying to reach for that one. A little bit of an early dive, but I don't think there was really much chance to get a play there anyway. So definitely a base hit. Will Oberg, the batter now for Wayzata. Oberg, a high chopper, but foul past third. He smacked a 2-run homer in the last round against the Royals, and that was his 5th home run of the year. And when you're looking at a season of this length, you're getting that kind of numbers like Holmes has for Hopkins and like Will Oberg has for Wayzata. That's impressive. He's also scored 18 runs, knocked in 17, hitting at .292. Takes that fastball up high from Molina. I was kind of joking with Will getting ready to interview last game when they beat the Royals. I don't know what was more impressive today, your pitching or hitting, because he had a very solid 6 innings of work on the mound that day and also came through with a nice day at the plate. He was 2 for 2 with a couple of walks, and one of the 2 hits was a home run, the other a double.
Well, and if you think about how long the season is, conservatively, that's about 1 home run every 12 or 13 at-bats. They play 20 games roughly, so that is a great stat line for offensive power.
And he slashes a hit to right field. Could be a play here. No. Both runners going to easily make it. Oberg in at first base. Musser down to second on a line single to right for the Trojans. And we're going to have a runner coming out for Wayzata as Nick Kay will run at first base for Oberg. And Tyler Young will step up here for the Trojans. Tyler hitting at .241. He has knocked in 14 runs. That ties him for second on the club. 5 of his hits are extra base hits, doubles, all of them. So a little threat going for Wayzata with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Way outside with that one. 1-0 pitch fouled into the screen by Young. Wayzata trying to capitalize on this early chance, although it came after first two guys were retired, so it makes it a little more difficult to bring that run home, but Young will try and do it. Cut and a miss at that high fastball, so Wallin ahead in the count 1-2 as he tries to work out of a little mini jam in the bottom of the first.
Well, Hopkins has shifted over to the right side. Part of it is the runner on second, but Cherboga is very deep at second base.
And a cut and a miss. Young chasing one up and out of the zone, and he strikes out. And so Wallin gets out of trouble. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and a couple left aboard in the first. We've completed an inning here at Siebert Field. It is 0-0.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave.
Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Welcome back here to Siebert Field as we get set for the top of the second inning along with Rick Rexroth. I'm Jay Wilcox. As Hopkins and Wayzata, we said, meeting for the 5th time. They played 3 times in the regular season, and this is the 2nd time here in this Section 6 tournament.
And CCX Sports is kind of the home station for both teams as well. They've been on CCX a few times this spring season.
3rd time. It's kind of unusual, but the way the schedule has worked out, these have been the ones to do at playoff time here. So Luke Polyak will step in. We also got a chance to see the Royals against Armstrong win a thriller in the bottom of the 7th over at Big Willow earlier in this tournament as well. Polyak takes that one for a ball. .524 batting average for him this year. He hasn't had a ton of at-bats, but they've liked the way he's been involved offensively late in the year, so he's been a regular in the lineup after doing a fair amount of pitching for the Royals early on. He's had a little bit of an arm issue, so been a valuable DH since then. Lifts it down the right field line. It's foul and no chance to catch up to that one. Just over for a look there was Dice. Not a whole lot of room in foul ground here, especially for a stadium, of this, a college stadium like this. It's got some, but not as much as you might see in a lot of parks. And a rip and a miss, and Polyak down on strikes. First strikeout for Oberg today. As I said, he fanned 10 in 6 innings last round against Hopkins.
See, we mentioned that breaking ball that just falls right off the table there. It's a tough pitch to lay off. It's coming in right in your zone where you want to drive the ball and disappears.
Joey Swanson takes that one outside for a ball. Here in the golden tones of PA announcer Brian Cosgriff, the Hopkins Royals girls basketball coach, doing some PA work. Lifted out to left field and charging in, and the catch made there by Musser as he had that one measured up nicely and makes the grab.
Third baseman, number 24, Bobby Wilson.
I think the sun is probably a little tough right there, but he's got the shades down and on and able to make that catch despite losing his lid on the way in.
Yeah, that's probably the shortstop and the left fielder right now probably have as tough as anybody.
Bobby Wilson will be the hitter here with 2 outs and trying to check his swing and lifts a foul back out of play. Wilson hitting .270 for the Royals, second on the team with 13 runs batted in. Got 1 double, 1 triple. Wilson was 0 for 3 last time against Oberg. High chopper up the middle, and that one's going to get through for a base hit. Wilson will check in at first base with a 2-out single, so that's kind of been the MO for both teams so far, is to try and get something started with 2 outs.
Yep, well, they, like you said, they got a base runner with 2 outs last game, but this is part of the success of Will Oberg is keep the pitch count low, keep the ball low, and don't walk anybody. Even if you got a base runner or a base hit, you're still got 2 down.
Wyatt Nelson steps up here for Hopkins. Looks at a first pitch breaking ball over for a strike. Wyatt hitting a .190, but he has scored 17 runs for the Royals, 9 walks as well. So the pure average doesn't look real strong, but he's done some good things at times offensively. Takes another strike.
And oftentimes coaches will put somebody who can bunt a little bit. He's got some good wheels down there at that 9 spot. 8-9-1 can some end up in that area, so they can move people around or sneak a base runner on that way.
Chopper to the left side, and that one is going to get through. So back-to-back singles with 2 outs here for Hopkins as Nelson delivering a base hit. And Rafael Lewis will be the hitter.
Just chop through the left side. The good part about the infield being artificial is that you get true hops. The bad part is the ball skips pretty good. It doesn't, when it hits the ground, it doesn't slow down very much. So
yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. It can be an infielder's best friend and worst enemy at the same time, because on grass, I think there's a reasonable chance the third baseman gets to that ball. But at the same time, like Rick said, you're not nearly as worried about balls taking really bad hops, too.
Well, and I don't know if they're talking about it before the game, but you'll often see infielders playing on the green part of the infield, especially with 2 outs, because you give yourself a lot more room because you don't have to worry about 2 edges of the field.
Strike taken here by Lewis. He is not bad at all that much this year. Gone 5 for 28. Does have a home run and 4 RBIs, though, for the Royals. So a golden opportunity here with runners at first and second and 2 down. And takes a strike. Oberg, you definitely like to get the number 9 hitter here so that you're not facing the top of the order with multiple guys on base. Rather come back and start with them next inning.
Yeah, watch Tyler Young set up again. He set up right on the outside edge last pitch, and Oberg hit his spots just perfect. Let's see if we do that again.
Rip and a miss and down on strike. So Oberg able to get out of trouble with the strikeout. For the Royals in the second, no runs, 2 hits, and 2 left aboard. We go to the bottom of 2 here in the Section 6 4A Championship. It is scoreless here between the Royals and the Trojans. And welcome back here to Siebert Field. A beautiful afternoon for the Section 6 4A Baseball Championship. Second seed Hopkins and top seed Wayzata still at 0-0 as we go to the bottom half of the second, although we have had a fair amount of base runners. 3 hits for the Royals so far, and Wayzata got 2 in the first inning. So I don't necessarily think this is going to be a game where nobody's going to score based on what we've seen so far. Jack Rothstein will lead off the second for the Trojans. They're in their 6, 7, 8 spots here to face Ben Wallin.
Batting for the Trojans, number 12, first baseman Jack Rothstein.
Rothstein hitting at .324. He scored 7 runs, knocked in 3. Couple of doubles to his credit. But right now, just looking to try and get on base here, beginning this inning, and lifts a long foul out of play. And another one, same way down the right field line.
I think there's a new football facility being built over there. I think that one might have made it into the new football facility. The frame's up, but there's big piles of dirt in there. That's going to be hard to reclaim that foul ball, I think.
Hopefully, if there's anybody working, they've got their hard hat on. Foul balls coming out of nowhere at them. That one inside for a ball. High chopper. It is a foul ball.
Well, he got out of the box like it might be fair, which is what you should do. And Mr. Wilson chucked that ball all the way across the diamond pretty well, too, even though didn't need to. You can see why he's playing third base. He had a nice arm, fired all the way across the diamond that way.
Yeah, they got him by a step if it had been a fair ball, but it was actually the base umpire made that call. It had to be pretty close as it was bouncing up and over, but just on the foul side of third base apparently. And he got a piece of that one, and that one's off Holmes' body, I think. Umpire going out to personally hand the ball to Wallin, mostly to give Morgan Holmes a little time to shake that one off.
Yeah, there's always good catchers. Obviously, umpires been doing this a long time. Good high school catchers learn that. There's kind of the unwritten rule about if somebody takes a nick off the chest or the neck, or umpire does, you take a little extra time. Like you said, the umpire delivered the ball to give Morgan a chance to readjust everything.
And another one. I'm not sure if that one hit the umpire or Holmes. Garrett Moselle working the plate, by the way, in this game. John Rademacher at first base, and Matt Lucan, the third baseline, umpiring here for today's contest. And a cut and a miss, and Rothstein down on strikes. Wallin gets his second strikeout. I always kind of wonder that when, obviously it's not terribly unusual for a coach to move into, an athletic administration role. So Dan Johnson was the baseball coach at Hopkins. He's been the AD for a long time, but as the section manager, I'm guessing he's in charge of getting umpires for these. And you always wonder, did he have any run-ins as a coach when he's going to, be in charge of getting a hold of these guys? Or maybe it's just their association that assigns them, I suppose, anyway. But
yeah, and I don't know how many associations are around in the West Metro anymore. There used to be just one, Northwest Umpires. Now they've got Metro, too. And I think Mr. Johnson's been full-time AD for more than 15 years. So unless somebody holds a grudge, I think their conversations are probably long since solved.
Engdahl hitting it to right field, and a nice running grab made out there and right by Wyatt Nelson. And 2 outs. Yeah, you're right. It was kind of thinking that wouldn't be an issue anyway, but it's always fun to think about those kind of things.
Well,
Didn't you throw me out here in
yeah, well, and he sees a lot of umpires running these. He's been running the section baseball tournament for years, so he's seen a lot of the umpires. You get an idea of who's good and who's not when you see that many games, even as an athletic director.
Sam Westermeyer fouling that one away. It had to be one of the highlights of Sam's season, I think. The last round, he stepped up and launched a 2-run homer against the Royals. Takes the fastball just inside there, 1-1. Got that one in on his hands and fouled away. Kind of joking with the Wayzata guys, but the dugouts here at Siebert Field are enormous. I mean, they're triple the size of any high school dugout at least. And obviously they got to play at Target Field last year as well, winning that state championship. But boy, you can't beat the accommodations. You could get lost in there.
Yeah, I was joking with one of the coaches that if somebody makes you mad, you can send them at the end of the bench and you won't see them anymore. They are pretty good size.
2-2 count here to Westermeyer. Lifts it a long way, but foul down the left field line. Got out a little in front of that one, but showed that he definitely has some strength. Hit that.
Hit that
homer,
330 feet at foul, but he didn't get all of it either, and he lifted it way out there. So
hit that homer to straightaway left, and it was no problem getting out of Wayzata Central Middle School field last week. And this one foul the other way.
That was good that he hit it to left field, because if he hit it to right field at Central Middle School, I think I could still hit it out there with that short porch and right. Wayzata playing their home games there this season as they're working on their high school field. Be back home at the high school next year.
And there's a called third strike. Westermeyer knew it. Wallin with a nice 1-2-3 second. No runs, no hits, and no one left. After 2 innings, it's Royals nothing, Trojans nothing here on CCX Sports.
Doesn't see race. Love is love.
Great afternoon for the players, but also the spectators. Maybe some grandparents there, perhaps, watching at Siebert Field as Hopkins and Wayzata battle for a section championship. Wayzata needs to win 1 game to advance to the state tournament. Hopkins would need to sweep a doubleheader. Morgan Holmes will lead off the third. The top of the order for the Royals, Holmes, Chiraboga, and Wallin will hit against Will Oberg. Holmes bounced out to third base his first time up. Rip and a miss. Last time against Oberg, he was 2 for 3, a pair of singles in the previous round. Chopped that one foul. As we said, Holmes not too shabby a year at 593 on base percentage, 923 slugging. He's hit 16 runs batted in, 4 homers, 4 doubles. 1 triple for good measure as well. This is definitely a dangerous bat in their lineup.
You may recognize the name as Morgan spent some time under center for the Royals in the fall. So obviously excelling as an athlete in a couple of different sports in the Lake Conference, which is tipped to him.
Ooh, and that one hits him.
Yeah, he knew he was going to get that one. I don't think that was the best fastball. He's talking to Oberg right now. You know, they used to have this conversation about, do you have to get out of the way? I mean, that ball started at him, and he knew he was going to get hit. He took it. Okay, nothing bad there. You get on base. I always thought, hey, you're on base.
Running
Nothing
for the
wrong
Royals,
with that.
number 8, Ross Nordine.
We're going to have Ross Nordine running at first base now for the catcher Holmes. And Chiraboga will be the batter here for Hopkins.
See if Coach Michalak has a base runner now with nobody out, if he's going to try to move him around, or will he let him swing away?
First pitch taken for a ball. Chiraboga hit a comebacker to Oberg. The first inning that Oberg fielded just fine, nearly threw high to first, but Rothstein able to make a nice catch and get his foot down on the bag to retire Chiraboga. Fires to first.
Remember the opening, we saw Oberg's ERA is just a touch over 1, so any chance you can get a run away from Oberg is going to be an extra golden run for the Royals.
Squared around, took it, throw back to first, and Nordin is back in safely. I wouldn't be surprised to see them do something here to try and get, whether it be a hit and run, whether it be a bunt, straight steal, whatever, try and get a runner into scoring position. Pitch is up high for ball. I talked about it last game though. Oberg, he takes the whole pitching part seriously, and that includes holding runners on. He's pretty good at varying the length of time before he comes home to not give you as good a read on him. And he also has a pretty good pickoff move for a righty. Sharp breaking ball there, over for a strike.
Yeah, there's so much to baseball without a clock. One that makes things a unique sport is with no clock, timing is such a big deal. And if you become a creature of habit, those little things like you talk about varying your move. If you don't vary your move, the runners can get an extra jump. Hitters can get a look at what's coming. So it's really important, all those little things to get done.
Chiriboga takes that one for a ball, so now the count running full. Hopkins trying to get a threat going in the third. Both the first 2 innings they got runners, but only after 2 were out. This time they start with a leadoff runner on a hit by pitch. Chiriboga fouls that one back to stay in there at 3-2. And by the way, Nordin was not running from first base there.
Yeah, a little surprised. I noticed that as well. I thought he might be going. We've got number 2 hitting spot. Guy obviously makes contact. So we'll see if he changes his mind or stays the course.
Not running. Hard line drive right at Westermeyer, and the out recorded. So fortunate for Hopkins that he was not running there, because that one would have most likely been a double play. It was hit hard, but right at Westermeyer.
Number 18, Ben Wallin.
So Wallin will be the batter here for Hopkins. He slugged one down the third base line for a single in the first inning. So they've hit a few balls hard here. I don't think right now these Hopkins hitters are intimidated by Oberg. They've seen him enough this year that they feel like they've got a shot to put some balls in play hard. But then again, the name of the game is scoring runs, and so far they've not been able to do that.
Yeah, and the first time through the order, Holmes and Chiriboga both made contact with the first pitch, and then Wallin saw a lot of pitches. So maybe they'll see if he can get ahead in the count before they get excited.
Runner going here. Throw down to second is not held on to by Nickel. I'm not sure if they would have had him. They might have. But Nickel not quite able as he
I think he's out if he catches the ball.
Yeah, he never completely had it. It was kind of a snow cone, and then in trying to tag the runner, yeah, he was already dropping it before. So in safely with steal is Nordin. Although a chance for Wayzata to get him there, but they didn't. So Wallin, a really good opportunity to knock in a run here. Time called.
Wallin, the pitcher of record for the Royals. I don't know if he needed the time or if you play a little cat and mouse there as a hitter and a pitcher.
And lifts it out to right field. It's going to drop in for a hit. Nordin, though, retreated to second, so he's not going to score. He'll be in at third there, as he thought that ball might be caught. So Wallin will have a single, and Nordin in at third. Runners at the corners now for the Royals, and Tommy Oth will hit. It did look for a moment like that ball might be caught by Dice, but I don't think that one's going to go in the books as great base running here by Nordin, to be honest.
Yeah, when you're there, you got to always think about what you need to do and where the ball's going to go. You need to come about 1/3 to third at least. Even if he catches that ball, you can turn around and get back to the bag. But making those angles, checking out that ball, seeing the ball off the bat, is just all the little things can make a difference, and certainly did there.
Tommy Oth, the hitter, takes a first pitch strike. He bounced to third his first time up, so great chance for the Royals. First and third, one out. Breaking ball fouled away. Oberg would love to get a strikeout here, because then that really can relax your defense a little bit more, and you just need to get the next hitter in any way you can. Would love to take the bat out of Oth's hands without him having a chance to put it in play and score a run. Infield is playing back here. Looking to turn two if they could. Instead, it's a fair ball on the third baseline. Base hit and a run scores for the Royals. Moline digging into third. He'll be in safely and moving up to second. He is off. So a one-out double will score a run. It's 1-0 Hopkins with a threat still going here for the Royals.
Well, again, ripping it down the line. That's the second ball that's gone inside the third baseline for the Royals to get down into that corner, and truly a double. He was going to come up and try to throw him out, but he would have been a standing second base, and even if there's nobody on base. So a nice rip for the Royals.
Conference time here for Wayzata.
You might be talking strategy more than anything else. Obviously, you're not going to worry about taking Oberg out of the game. They might be asking, are they going to load the bases, or do you want to put a force out on there? And if they do, what kind of defense are you going to play? Or if we're going to not pitch to him, where do we want to play? What kind of rotations do you want to do against Poliak? So probably more discussions about that rather than checking on Oberg whether he's going to pitch or not.
So Poliak up. A strikeout victim his first time up, but Hopkins is on the board first here. Again, the defense is playing back. Certainly on this turf field, it's a little bit different thing, though the ball gets to you quicker. So, you know, a hard hit ball at, say, third base or whatever, they would have a chance to come home. And this is a hard hit ball, and it's a base hit, and it's going to score a pair. Cut off out there, and a two-run single for Poliak, and it's 3-0 Hopkins.
Well, you talked about Luke Poliak at his first at bat coming on in the last half of the season as a hitter after pitching for the Royals. Just takes that first pitch and lines it into right field and picks up 2 playoff RBIs for the sophomore.
So Joey Swanson will hit now, a 3-0 lead for Hopkins as they try and force a game 2. Runner is going, pitch taken for a strike, throw down. Did he come off the bag? Yes. Tag applied by Nickel. He was going to be safe initially, but then came off the bag. So Poliak is out for out number 2. You see, they did not have him the first time and didn't even reach him, obviously, but then in trying to get back,
Well, they didn't get him, but they called him out. Probably should be out for over sliding the bag anyway, but.
I think you may be right there, Rick. So second out recorded, although perhaps suspect.
I was going to say earlier, it's nice to have 3 umpires because you get people on top of plays. Well, he was on top of the play.
Tap down to first. Rothstein will field it and make the out. So they get out of the inning, but it's a great inning for Hopkins as they come up with 3 runs on 3 base hits. And no one left on base after that throw out there. So 3-0 Royals as we take a look at how things have shaped up in this Section 6 tournament. Wayzata, no problem with Washburn. Then they had no trouble with Hopkins. Their first portion of the tournament, the early part of the tournament after, and then you see Hopkins advancing, beating Armstrong. Look at the retired numbers for Gopher baseball out there.
Yeah, that's one of the things about the new field that's different. They used to be over on the right field wall by the scoreboard. But some pretty familiar names, obviously. Molitor and Winfield also being from St. Paul, too. So not only Gophers, but local Twin Cities guys.
Yeah, a couple years back, I was down on campus here to buy some Gopher gear for a Christmas present. And it was in the middle of a weekday afternoon or more, late morning, I guess. And the only other customer in the store with me was Paul Molitor. And it was just after he'd been named Twins manager at the time.
Yep.
So still supporting the Gophers. He was doing some Christmas shopping as well.
Yep, and people of our age remember Molitor for the Brewers when, and the young people listening, when the Brewers were in the American League even.
Yes,
so that's
believe
exciting.
it or not.
Yep.
He was a heck of a ball player, that's for sure. So Wayzata has its work cut out now, trailing at 3-0. Keegan Nickel, Danny Dice, and Bobby Isbell, the 9-1 and 2 hitters, will come up for the Trojans here in their half of the third. So a position they have not been in much of late, trailing. Here's a liner to left, but it hangs up enough. And the catch made. It was nearly overrun by De La Paz as he almost kind of traps this ball against his body, it looks like here.
Yep. He's got it. No, he comes up with it. Yeah, you're right. He had it on the heel of the glove, but he's trying to make sure his hand's okay. It stings a little bit. But boy, if there's a defensive coach positioning outfielders, they put him in the right spot because they hit an Adam ball there.
Danny Dice is the batter, and let's keep in mind, I think sun was probably a little bit of an issue for him too. You'd think, more about a ball up in the air, higher, but I think it still was probably a tough one in that regard too. Wasn't maybe exactly how you want to do it, but the important thing is he stayed with it and got the out.
That's right.
Dice bounced to short his first time up. Takes that one for a ball. So 3-0 count here to Dice, hitting with 1 out in the bottom of the third. And he takes ball 4. So a 1-out base runner now for the Trojans, and Bobby Isbell will be the hitter. William gave up a couple of hits in the first inning, then he had a 1-2-3 second, and Holmes out to give him a quick talk here.
Yeah, a couple of those balls that were pretty close. It's the first walk given up by either pitcher in the game today. So Coach Morgan Holmes, even though he's the catcher, he's just chatting him, calling him down. I don't think at this level he's talking to him about mechanics more than he is about giving him a pep talk.
Yeah, I think just saying don't worry about it more than anything. And so we'll see what Isbell can do here with the runner on. First pitch is low. Holmes couldn't find it, although it didn't get very far away.
Yeah, we've seen Morgan play a couple of games. He's got a very good arm. Released that ball pretty quickly as well.
And time requested here by Isbell. Foul ball, right field side will get well out of play. One pitch from Moline. It's a high chopper towards short, and everyone's going to be safe. Coming in and trying to feel that one on a short hop was Lewis. He kind of turned the head a little bit here. We'll see. This one will probably be an error, I would suspect.
Yeah, I don't know if he's looking at the sun either, but you want to get that real short hop. You kind of made it an in-between one. You got to make that decision whether you charge it hard or stop and wait for it to bounce. A big hop. Those in-between hops are the toughest ones.
Yeah, it is scored as an error, so 2 on with 1 out, and Chad Musser will hit. Quick talk given out here to Moline. Maybe kind of similar to what when they came out to talk to the other way to Oberg. You know, certainly not a case where you're saying we might take him out or anything like that. I think.
All right, we got a left-handed hitter up, maybe talking about where that's going to be. You've got the right side of the infield's playing deep. So just keep the ball low, make him put the ball on the ground, and got forces on all bases, so keep your head.
Musser had a single his first time up. And one of the more dangerous hitters all year for Wayzata. Takes that one up high for a ball. And that one way outside, and it gets away off of Holmes's glove. Wild pitch will move them both up.
Now you got to decide if you're going to just pitch around them or even just put them on to load the bases with one out. So ahead in the count 2-0. Of course, when you walk him, you're going to face Oberg. We talked about his hitting prowess, so that's not necessarily a good thing.
Takes that one inside for a ball. Infield creeping up here for Hopkins, but now at 3-0, I think it does become the more sensible idea maybe to go ahead and put him on. That one is over for a strike though, so 3-1. Problem is you don't want to, put potentially the go-ahead run on, you want to limit base runners here if you can too, and sometimes you just have to say, we know that's a good hitter, but we still got to go get him. Musser lining it a long way foul down the left field side. So now Wallin has worked it back to a full count. Lifted foul down the third base side. That one's going to get out of play.
Musser's battling. Nice job by Wallin to keep coming into the zone there.
Another 3-2 pitch coming here from Wallin to Musser. And it's outside for ball 4. So they're loaded up here now for Will Oberg.
Well, we talked about that that's not a big deal to walk him. I would be more concerned as the pitching coach that catcher had to reach out to get the ball, so he was not expecting that location. So you really want your pitcher to hit the spot. So the fact that he was a couple feet off of where he was being asked to throw it is probably more of a concern than the fact that he walked him.
Oberg singled his first time up. He hits with the bases full here, and he lines this one a long way to right center field, and that's going to be down for a hit, maybe? No, off the glove of Nelson. 3 runs will score. Oberg digging for third, and he will be in, and we are tied up. Thought that one was going to get over Nelson's head. He ended up getting a glove on it, but it will clear the bases as he reached up and just couldn't quite haul it in. And the only difficulty there was that Musser nearly caught up to Isbell. He thought it was going to be caught, and I looked up and there were a train of Wayzata runners here coming to rounding third, and you see Oberg is in. Going to score that one as a triple. It was not an easy play. Yes, he got a glove on it, but I think that would have required more than routine effort. Here's Tyler Young lifting it to center field. This should score the go-ahead run. Runner tagging, and Kay, the pinch runner, will come in to score. Courtesy runner will score for the Trojans and make it quickly a 4-3 game. How about that turn of events?
Well, you always want to stay within 4 runs. One swing of the bat, got 3 on one and 1 on another hit. It turns around quickly. That's why those errors and those walks can really come back to haunt you. When you talked about putting a base runner on, it can turn around quickly.
Jack Rothstein will be the batter here for Wayzata. Takes a strike here. He struck out his first time up, so now 2 gone in the inning, but it's been a great one for the Trojans as they surge in front 4-3. Looks at that fastball inside for a ball. Breaking ball is over for a strike. And able to check his swing there. to short on one hop, and the throw across is in time, but the Trojans come up with a big third inning. 4 runs in the inning on 1 base hit. There was 1 error and no one left aboard. It's 4-3 Trojans through 3.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Eventful third inning. Hopkins jumped out front 3-0, breaking a 0-0 tie, but then Wayzata answered with 4 of their own. So it's 4-3 Trojans. We go to the 4th. Wilson, Nelson, and Lewis, the bottom third of the order for Hopkins. And Wilson, a tapper. Oberg throws him out. 1 gone here quickly in the 4th. So Oberg, after giving up those 3 runs, helping his cause with the bat with that bases clearing triple there off the glove, despite a really good effort by this guy, Wyatt Nelson, to try and run that one down. I didn't think there was any way he was getting to it at all. Did tip off his glove, but ruled a base hit, a triple.
Well, we were talking during the break. I had no idea he was even going to get to the ball. And then he reached up his backhand, and actually to backhand a ball like that on a dead run is an amazing play just to get to it. So good effort there.
Way out front of that breaking ball. Nelson did have a single his first time up, but falls behind 0-2 to see if Oberg kind of gains some confidence from his team getting the lead back there. Looked like he was eager to get back out and shut things down here a little bit. And a swing and a miss. Nelson goes down on strikes. 3rd strikeout today for Oberg, and Rafael Lewis will be the hitter.
Shortstop number 66, Rafael Lewis.
Another look at that sharp breaking ball there, and that's what getting ahead in the count too can do for you. And the guy, you know, hard to lay off that pitch when you are facing a potential called 3rd strike.
Well, that really is some people call balls that drop off like that a 6-12 curveball, but it's got some velocity and some sharpness to it too. So it's not just, he's not lobbing it up there, it's ripping it right off.
Lewis trying to bunt his way on. Westermeyer charging, throw to first base just in time. Close play down there at first, and they get him. So 1, 2, 3, 4th inning work there by Oberg. No runs, no hits, and no one left. We go to the bottom of the 4th. It's 4-3 Trojans.
The color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. They're my savior. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
Welcome back here to Siebert Field. Bobby Wilson, the third baseman for Hopkins, was down briefly in the bullpen between innings there, getting some quick throws in. So we suspect that if a pitching change becomes necessary, that he's probably next in line here. Engdahl, Westermeyer, and Nickel will hit the 7, 8, 9 hitters for Wayzata in the bottom of the fourth. Engdahl lined out to right field his first time up, and he pops this one up. Tough ball in that sun, and Wilson staying with it. That was a sky-high pop-up, and he's able to make that grab. Right away, you kind of got the sense that this one's not as routine as you might think.
Well, they're looking right in the sun, like you said. It's setting behind us here in their third baseman, shortstop looking right at it. Wallin called it out and did what he's supposed to do, stayed on the mound. Should be the infielders getting that ball, and they found it, and Wilson took care of it, but you're right, it wasn't easy.
Westermeyer lifting that one out of play. And I always feel like there's almost an added pressure on a ball like that too, because everybody in the park knows you should catch it, and sometimes you start to look and it's a spot where you maybe have a little trouble with it, and you're worrying on a ball. It's almost easier to just be running to a ball and not have to think about it up there. Westermeyer fouls that one off his foot.
Well, when you hit a ball that high, the ball's spinning so hard too. It's even as an infielder, you're not seeing that very often. The ball's spinning usually away from you if you're running in the ball, so you could easily overrun a fly ball that high in the infield.
Westermeyer took a called third strike last time around, and he's behind the count 0-2 here. And a little soft flare. That one's going to get down in right field for a base hit. So one out single for the Trojans' third baseman. And Keegan Nickel will bat now for Wayzata.
Just went down and got the ball inside out a little bit.
We're going to have a pinch runner for Wayzata as Kay will come on to run at first base. And for Westermeyer, this is not a courtesy runner situation, so this is a substitution. They would need to re-enter him, Westermeyer, which they most likely will, of course.
Yep, and we've got a left-handed batter here, and like I said, sometimes those 8-9 batters are still pretty good sticks. Maybe can bunt a little bit, maybe can make contact a little better than some, so gives you an opportunity to do more things with the pinch runner.
Throw to first. Nickel lined out to left field on that ball that gave a little bit of difficulty. Yeah, if you remember coming in to make the catch with De La Paz, but he trapped it against, it kind of popped out of the glove and into the bare hand. And this one, a liner to left center field and hit fairly well. Long run and a nice running catch. And having to retreat to first base is Kay, as tracked down nicely by Swanson. This one looked like it had a chance to be a gapper, but he stayed with it and ends up hanging on as he makes a dive. That's a nice play.
That's a great play. You know, if you're watching from the beginning of the highlight there, it looks like he's playing really close. But remember, we're at a Big Ten stadium, so you don't want to play deep because you'll let a lot of balls fall in front. So covered a lot of ground there. A great play.
2 outs now, and Danny Dice, the batter for Wayzata. And think of how different that would be if that ball had gotten past him. It's going to bounce out, you know, at least near the fence. Almost certainly would score a run there and probably be a triple at least. So he made the dive and he made it count. Dice takes that one inside for a ball. He walked and ended up scoring on that bases clearing triple by Oberg in the third. Toss to first base off, did not hold on to it, and I think he was back in there anyway, Kay. Runner is going. Holmes throwing from his knees, and it's a short hopper, and in safely is Kay with a stolen base.
he threw from his knees. I'm not sure if the ball was low or if it took him by surprise that he was running with 2 outs, but still a strong throw even from his knees. It was not in time, and it was a little short, but still able to get that on the line to second base.
3-0 pitch now to Dice, and that one is outside for ball 4. So he draws his second consecutive walk, and Bobby Isbell will bat for the Trojans with the runners at first and second and 2 outs. Last time he hit a chopper that was mishandled by the shortstop for an error, ended up scoring. Down the third base line, it's knocked down, but everyone's going to be safe. Bases loaded up, an infield hit for Isbell as Wilson did all he could, got over, and at that point the best you could hope for really is to knock it down, and that's what happened.
Well, he saved a run by knocking that ball down for sure, because the left fielder was playing about straight up, so he would have had to, that might have still be rolling if it gets by him. So he's frustrated he wasn't able to pick it cleanly, but he absolutely saved a run by stopping the ball there.
Musser is the hitter. Bases loaded for the Trojans, and he has a big rip but doesn't get it. Yeah, Wilson, I'm sure, was thinking, if I get this one cleanly, I might be able to win the race to third base there for a force out. Musser down the right field line, but foul. Boy, Trojans fans were pumped up thinking they were going to see another extra base hit with the bases full there, and instead it wound up about 3-4 feet foul.
From our angle up here, I wasn't sure if that was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot closer than that. It was quite a bit foul, but it looked like from our angle that it might be right on the line.
That one is low. Holmes able to block it. So 1 and 2 here to Musser. Wayzata up by a run, but a base hit here could really help their cause. Meanwhile, Wallin trying to squeeze out of trouble here. Back up the middle, and Wallin able to flag it down and throws to Oth at first base. And they retire Musser with the bases full. For Wayzata in the fourth, no runs, a couple of base hits, and they leave 3. Our score through 4 innings full here at Siebert. It's Wayzata 4 and Hopkins 3.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat. I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Great day for a ball game here, or maybe two. Wayzata leading at 4-3 as we go to the top of the 5th. The Trojans need 1 win. Hopkins would need to sweep a doubleheader here to win the Section 6 4A championship. Top of the order due for Hopkins, Holmes, Chiriboga, and Wallin getting set to hit against Will Oberg, who showed he was very mortal in the 3rd inning. They got 3 runs off him. He's had an outstanding year. He's beat Hopkins a couple times already this year, but they got to him a little bit in the 3rd. He came back with a 1, 2, 3, 4th inning though, which kind of shows that he wasn't the type of pitcher that's going to just let it collapse on him if he gives up a run or 2.
Yeah, very steady all year long. We talked about the number of strikeouts he has, and we've seen his ability to really bear down in all sorts of situations this year.
Holmes jumps on that one, drives it in through the Hopkins bullpen. This is the one, not to say they don't have others, but this is the guy they fear the most, I think, on this Hopkins team. That's a safe bet for all the teams in the section and then the Lake Conference back during the regular season. Gets him to pop it up. Isbell, the second baseman, calling. And he will make the catch for out number 1. That's a big out to get a dangerous hitter to start the 5th, and Kyle Chiriboga will bat.
We talked about the last time they faced each other, they were able to get to his curveball. That was a curveball. He got him to chase it and was out front with it. So Oberg's still mixing those in there, and that's absolutely a sign of a quality pitcher, be able to locate the ball and control your pitches.
Chiriboga's 0 for 2, but last time up he hit the ball very strong. A line drive about shoulder high right at the third baseman. Really couldn't ask for much more as far as contact, but it just happened to be right at a fielder. Drops down a little 3/4 with that breaking ball there and gets the strike. Back up the middle, and Oberg able to make the play. He will flip to first.
I thought he was going to try and run it all the way over there for a second.
Now batting for the Royals, number 18, pitcher Ben
Moline will hit.
Moline a little frustrated at the end of pitching the last inning, and maybe he can take some of that frustration out on the baseball here at the plate.
He's had a good day with the bat, 2 for 2. Slicing that one foul. Breaking ball just missing. The type of pitch that's impressive even when it's not a strike, because he definitely had Moline locked up there.
Yep.
Yeah, that went into the dirt and I think got the umpire. Tyler Young's going to go out and chat, make sure to give the ump a little time there. I think he kind of turned and said, sorry, I missed that one, or something along those lines, as it got right through him and into the umpire.
Yep, having a little quick conversation there.
Look at this last one here as it goes by Young and up into the umpire. Yep.
He didn't quite turn over the glove all the way. Nobody on base, not too worried about it.
2-1 pitch is a strike. So 2-2. Oberg trying to work his second consecutive 1-2-3 inning. Just fought that one off. Pitch was going to be out of the strike zone, I think, but Moline kind of was in protect mode there.
Yep, defensive hitting there.
And way outside with that one, so the count will run full. And a swing and a miss. Young's going to have to throw down to first base, and he does so. So they get the strikeout. 1-2-3 fifth inning work by by Oberg. No runs, no hits, and no one left on. We go to the bottom of 5. It's 4-3 Wayzata here on CCX Sports.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
What makes your community feel like home? Is it knowing what's happening in your neighborhood, or when people know your name? Connections make us a community. For more than 30 years, Northwest Community Television has connected citizens, neighbors, even sports fans through video. As life gets busier than ever, we will still offer you a connected community experience through CCX Media, so you can stay connected to the place you call home.
Welcome back. A new pitcher coming into the contest for Hopkins. It is Wyatt Nelson, who moves in from right field. Wyatt, a record of 3-0 this year, 1.14 earned run average. He's worked 12 1/3 innings, all in relief, allowing 7 hits with 7 walks and 14 strikeouts. So been a relief specialist for the Royals. And he will be called on after Wallin works the first 4 innings for Hopkins, allowing 4 runs.
Wallin looked like he pushed into center field rather than right field. Or did he go to right?
Yeah, it looks like he did go to center, and then they swapped Swanson over to right, it looks like.
And I think we have a new shortstop for the Royals here as well.
There you see the look at those guys switching, and yeah, Matt Shaw has come in at short for Hopkins. There he is, number 12. So Will Oberg will step in to lead it off against Wyatt Nelson.
Sure, we're getting the signs and the signals all straight. He also might be saying, remember, he can bring it, so let's keep the ball away from where he likes to hit it. Probably Wayzata's best hitter.
Oberg 2 for 2 today and slices that one into the backstop. Got to be a good feeling for himself. You know, you want your offense to come back after you've given up a couple runs, and you're also the guy who's able to do a big contribution with the bat.
Big sweeping curveball there. Locked him up a little bit.
That one's outside. So Wallin working the first 4 innings, gave up 5 hits. He walked 3, struck out 3. You know, if you take away that stretch of batters in the third, you would have said it was a pretty good outing for him. Overall, it turns out to be, all in all, a decent but not great 4 innings.
Well, and 2 of the runners that scored was a walk and an error. So you take away those 2 base runners, and it's a 3-2 ball game. So extra outs can cost you.
And then that bases clearing triple that Oberg hit. It was a great effort and a good job just to get to it, but Nelson, who is now pitching, did have a glance off his glove. If he hauls that one in, that would have been a different inning too. 3-2 pitch here to Oberg. Fights it off, drives it foul down the right field side.
Good at bat, 13. Give us a start.
And fouls away a high fastball there from Nelson to keep the count full here. Young and Rothstein, the scheduled batters to follow Oberg to the plate here in the bottom of the 5th. Takes ball 4. So Oberg working out a walk there, fought off a couple of 3-2 pitches, and now gets aboard to start the 5th, and they will run for him.
Catcher, number 4, Tyler Young.
Looks like it'll be Nick Fasaro running down there at first base.
Number 9, Nicholas Fasaro.
And so Young will bat. He had a sacrifice fly to drive in the go-ahead run, and back in the 3rd inning. Squares around and takes it for a ball.
Not sure if they're just trying to check out the defense or if he's really trying to put that ball down. He squared around a little early, but maybe he's still trying to get that ball down.
Is looking like he wants to bunt it and bunts it foul. So 1-1.
Bobby DeWitt trying to eke out another run, give a little cushion to Oberg. The heart of the order has just gotten through the last inning, so you're going to see the bottom. Oberg will face the bottom half of Hopkins' lineup in the bottom half of this inning.
Oof, nearly threw that one away. Oth up to get it. Squaring again, gets the bunt down. Might be a play at second. Nelson took a look. He'll end up going to first. Doesn't maybe bunted a little harder than he would like, but Hopkins not electing to gamble there, and they'll get the sacrifice as they get the out at first base.
You're going to need to move your car immediately or it will be towed. Thank you.
Jack Rothstein will be the hitter. Another look. Boy, he took a long look, and I think they had a reasonable shot to get the out there at second, but he just didn't want to force it.
Yeah, the ball came back to him pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's another thing with the turf. I think laying down a good bunt might be a little bit harder here. Yeah, tough to deaden it enough to get it in that sweet spot where it's not right at a fielder, but not too near to home plate either. Rothstein 0 for 2 so far here today, but hitting with a runner in scoring position now and 1 out. Wayzata trying to increase a 4-3 lead. Drives it foul down the first base side.
Okay,
1-1 pitch here from Wyatt Nelson coming. Rip and a miss by Rothstein. 1-2 count. Watch that one a little bit outside.
Wyatt Nelson's not real tall, but he's still able to get a lot of leverage. That ball's still got a lot of pop on it for him.
And inside there, he was working the outer corner and really, I think, surprised Rothstein by coming to the inner part, but just off the plate. 3-2. And there's ball 4. Good at bat by Rothstein, able to work out a walk. So first and second now with 1 out, and Engdahl will bat for the Trojans.
Center fielder number 6, Charles Engdahl.
Holmes out to talk with Nelson here.
Umpire out to get it again back to the plate. They're not making up any time for anybody in the bullpen or anything. They're just trying to make sure they get what they want out of here. Tough now with 2 on. Your left side has got to decide where they want to play. Wilson about 5 feet behind the bag, but quite a bit off the line. It gives them a lot of room down the third base line there.
Lifting it to right, it's foul, and no chance to run that one down. Engdahl hit the ball pretty hard his first time up, a liner out to right, and then a pop-up on the infield after that. So 0 for 2 here. Westermeyer waiting on deck for the Trojans. way up high and out of the zone. Coach DeWitt was happy last time these teams met about how his team was able to, you know, they had a lead early in the game, but they were able to tack on more later, get some, you know, some good at bats, some good hits with runners in scoring position later in the game. This one lifted a long way out to center, but playable. We'll lean up with it and we'll make the grab. So 2 outs. And Westermeyer will be left up to him here in this 5th inning. Had a single last time up, so 1 for 2. There's a strike.
See Westermeyer's stance. He's got his left foot open. He's really wide open looking for that ball in the inside half of the plate. Trying to pull the ball a little bit. We mentioned pulled the ball over the fence last game.
And strike 2. Another fastball in the outer part of the plate. So Wyatt Nelson quickly working ahead in the count, trying to get out of trouble here in the 5th and give his team opportunity to come back from this 1-run deficit. They've got 2 more at-bats to go. Change speed there, but just missed. 1 and 2.
It's okay when you're ahead in the count, you can waste them out there. In fact, I was surprised it was that close to the plate. Usually you don't want to get them too much of a chance to put the ball in play with 2 strikes.
Westermeyer fouling that one straight back. Nelson taking a little extra time, so Westermeyer steps on out.
Yep, everybody reset themselves here.
Nice fastball, fouled back out of play again by Westermeyer. All the scoring in this one came in the 3rd inning. Hopkins took a 3-0 lead by scoring 3 times in the top half of the 3rd, and then Wayzata answered with 4. There's been, you know, a fair amount of base runners in some of the other innings too, but that's the only times that either team's been able to score. And a foul tip held onto, and it's a strikeout, so Nelson gets out of trouble here in the 5th. No runs, no hits. There were no errors and 2 runners left aboard. We've completed 5 here in the Section 6 4A Baseball Championship. It's 4-3 Wayzata.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Welcome back here to Siebert Field, the home of the Gophers and the home of the final portion of the Section 6 4A baseball tournament. Will Oberg completing his warm-up tosses for Wayzata. He will see the 4, 5, and 6 hitters coming up for Hopkins, as Tommy Oth will lead things off for the Royals.
Well, if you're thinking about pitch count for Oberg, it's not really a big concern. They've had a lot of rest coming into today's game, and we were talking to Coach DeWitt beforehand. They will have, assuming they win the game today or the second one if there is one, they've got a lot of time before the state tournament starts. So they're really, pitch count not a concern at this point.
So he's at 64 to this point. Did he swing? Yes, he did. Oth went around. Oth had a double to drive in a run last time up. He's 1 for 2. And from up here, I would say I concur with that strike call. Breaking ball over for strike 2. And chase that one. Young's going to have to make a throw to first, and he'll get it done. Second batter in a row to strike out on a pitch that hits the dirt. So strikeout to begin the 6th inning, and Luke Poliak will be the batter for Hopkins. Luke had a strikeout his first time up, but then singled in a pair in the 3rd. That one nearly hit him and ends up being a strike. 0-1.
I thought it actually might have nicked him a little bit, but obviously it didn't. Home plate umpire didn't say anything. The batter didn't say anything.
Hard hit ball to short, but a one-hopper to Nickel. Fires across and gets him. Poliak runs pretty well, as we saw on that game-winning charge to score the winning run against Armstrong earlier in the tournament.
Joey Swanson.
Nickel coming up, firing across, got him rather easily there on a hard hit ball. So 2 outs, and Joey Swanson, the right fielder, will hit now for Hopkins. Lifts it to right field. Dice coming on and has it measured and will make the catch. Another 1-2-3 inning for Oberg. No runs, no hits, and no one left. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It is 4-3 Wayzata.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat?
1 in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back here to Siebert Field. Wayzata holding a 1-run lead. They will bat in the 6th inning. Number 9, 1 and 2 hitters coming up. Keegan Nickel to lead things off. Wyatt Nelson still on the hill for Hopkins, out for his 2nd inning of work after taking over for Ben Willeen in the 5th. Nickel had a liner to left and a fly to center in his 2 at-bats as he tries to get something started here for the Trojans. They've had base runners in every inning but the 2nd, but have stranded a few more than they'd like, but they did have that big 4-run 3rd inning to give them the lead. Obviously, they'd like insurance runs, but you almost get the feeling that Oberg wouldn't mind if it went fairly quick, that he's eager to get back out and try and finish this one off.
Well, and he's the story of the game right now with his pitching performance. He gave up more runs than he normally does in 1/2 inning, and then he got 3 RBIs the bottom half of that inning. So he erased those runs really quickly.
Ooh, that one, did it hit him? I guess so.
Must have.
Or was that ball 4 anyway? Yeah, it looks like it was. So
Right fielder, number 7.
nickel aboard.
Danny Dice.
And Dice will be the hitter. No indication given the hit. I think it was the fourth
ball 4, yeah.
So Dice will bat. He has walked a pair of times, which for a leadoff guy is exactly what you're looking for. Get on base any way you can. See if they might be thinking sacrifice here. He is squaring, takes it for a ball. Holmes throwing back to first, gets away, but not far enough. Wayzata did sacrifice in the same situation in the 5th inning. He is squaring and takes it for a ball. Good job. You have to, even when you're bunting, you want to be bunting at strikes, not putting one trying to put one down that's going to be tough to handle.
Yep, you want the ball below your numbers there so you don't pop the ball up. That's the worst thing you can do when you bunt.
That time he takes it for a strike.
He squared around early enough that Wilson was almost ready to say hi.
Yeah, he could have shook hands with him by the end there. You better hope that he doesn't pull the bat back and take a swing. He might be diving for cover. Two-one pitch. He is bunting, gets it down. Nelson's going to go to first, and the sacrifice is successful. So Dice does his job getting the bunt down. Runner into scoring position for Bobby Isbell.
Well, it doesn't work out much better for Wayzata. You move the runner over, and now you've got your 2, 3, 4 coming up behind him. So opportunity here for Wayzata is pretty positive.
And going to have a conference here on the mound for Hopkins, or possibly a pitching change even. We'll see.
Wilson, the third baseman, was warming up earlier in the game.
Yeah, it looks like they are waving him in. I think they're going to give the ball to Bobby Wilson here. So Nelson will move somewhere else on the field, it looks like, and Wilson will come in from third. So we will have a pitching change here in the bottom of the 6th. Runner on second, one out for Wayzata. We'll step aside for a moment here and come back with more in the 6-4A Baseball Championship from Siebert Field on CCX Sports.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot. Buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Great afternoon for baseball at Siebert Field here at the University of Minnesota, and Hopkins bringing in its 3rd pitcher of the game here in the bottom of the 6th. Now Bobby Wilson comes on. This will be his 8th appearance, all in relief. He's worked 12 1/3 innings, a 1-0 record, 2.84 earned run average. In 12 1/3, he's given up 15 hits with 6 walks and 11 strikeouts. He'll be facing Bobby Isbell with a runner at second and 1 out. Nelson looks like he did just go over to third, or did he? Maybe he's coming out. No, getting sunglasses. Yep. That's what it is.
You got to see that. Those looking right at the sun. So he started in right field. Almost made a tremendous play. This kind of pivotal part of the game where they got 3 RBIs on Oberg's hit. Came in, did an okay job at relief, and now moves over to third base.
Wilson's first pitch fouled back. Kind of throwback kind of baseball where you just, you're a baseball player and you can move around the field a little bit, not necessarily specializing.
It also tells you that the coach thinks you can hit a little bit if he's willing to move you around like that as well.
Close pitch taken for a ball there by Isbell, who's been on twice. He had a single last time up and also reached on an error. Great opportunity here for Wayzata. They would dearly love to get at least one more, give them a little bit of a cushion, but popped up.
Chiriboga underneath.
Calls, makes the catch, and 2 gone. So big out recorded there by Wilson, and Chad Musser will hit now for Wayzata.
I would expect the infielders to get a little bigger. Like I said, it's not unusual to play on the outer edge of the green part, even though you're not on the infield anymore, because there's lots of space that way.
Takes the first pitch for a strike. Musser fouling that one away down the left field side, so quickly 0-2 here as Wilson tries to shut them down and not allow another run in. Back up the middle off the pitcher, and Chiriboga up with it and will throw him out. Wow, nice play. That one got some of the leg, it looked like, of Wilson. So 1-4-3 on the put out of Musser. Trojans are done in the 6th. No runs, no hits. They leave 1. We go to inning number 7 here at Siebert Field. It's 4-3 Trojans.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave. Okay, but remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Welcome back. There's your line score here in the Section 6 4A Championship. 4-3 Wayzata through 6 innings, and we go to inning number 7, and it'll be the bottom third of the order coming up for the Royals. Wilson, Nelson, and Lewis, the scheduled hitters. And not terribly surprising to see Will Oberg still out there on the hill. He gave up 3 in the 3rd, but he's set down 9 in a row since. And so Wilson leading off the 7th. But it is still just a 1-run deficit. Hopkins very much still right there. Wilson had a single in the 2nd inning, and then a comebacker to Oberg last time up. Starts him with a breaking ball for a strike.
Yeah, there's a little bit of action in the Wayzata bullpen. A couple people just loosening up a little bit, but you mentioned about the pitch count earlier, and this pitch count today is excellent, so have to rough him up pretty good to replace him, I believe.
And I think if you start the inning with him, I mean, obviously it can change as the inning goes, but you're kind of committing to riding him, trying to win this game, I think.
Well, remember what he's had 8 decisions and won 7 games, I believe.
Yep.
So he's used to being in this situation, and this is where he's comfortable. So you tip your hat to your senior at that point.
2-1 pitch, just missed. Young holding it in place a little extra there. I think he felt he had that as a strike.
Oberg asking exactly where it was. Kind of a polite way to say, I disagree with your call, sir.
And that one is over the inner part for strike 2, 3-2. I think Wilson probably knew that if this one's close, I might not be getting it. So full count here to Bobby Wilson, leading off the 7th. And that one's in the dirt, so ball 4. Wilson will draw the leadoff walk.
Let's see if they run for him. Got any wheels left on the bench, or they will let Wilson leg it out. Looks like they're going to keep him in the ball game.
Nelson, the hitter now for the Royals. Had a single in his first at bat back in inning 2 following Wilson's single. Missed for ball 1.
We mentioned about how effective that curveball is. The Royals being able to lay off it a little bit more the last couple of innings, that they were chasing that ball a little bit in the first half of the game.
And that one's in the dirt. Runner's going to move up. Young blocking it somewhat, but not enough to keep Wilson from advancing. So wild pitch puts the tying run down to 2nd. Tried to backhand that one, and it skipped away. Well, we'll see here. It's not a sure thing that they're going to keep Oberg in. Well,
yeah, and it's amazing how about 3 minutes changes the whole feeling of how you come out here and you're facing arguably the best pitcher in the Lake Conference, and he's going to shut you down. He shut you down before, and 4 or 5 pitches later, you got a runner in scoring position, and you batter's ahead in the count. Tie the ball game up.
They will stick with Oberg here, but a good start to the inning for the Royals as they get the walk and then a wild pitch, and Nelson hitting with the runner at 2nd and nobody out, and a 2-0 count. Little tapper to the left side. It will be foul, and probably fortunately so for the Trojans. It would have been a tough play to get an out on. Interesting, the Wayzata playing pretty shallow in the outfield, particularly Engdahl in center. They're going to be aggressive and want to try and take away the chance for this tying run to score if there's a base hit.
Yeah, generally speaking, in the situation, you take your cornermen and have them hug the line and have those outfielders play straight up, keep the ball in front. But Wayzata is defending state champ, so Coach DeWitt certainly knows what he's doing.
Bunted high and up out of play. Boy, Wayzata was expecting that. They had their corners in, coming in tight, and Nelson did not come close to getting that bunt down. So now 2-2. You would think that might take the bunt out of the equation, but not for sure. Breaking ball and a called 3rd strike. Nelson is upset. He did not think it caught the plate.
I think
a little outside there, perhaps, but
just a bit.
Didn't have. Matt Shaw will bat now for Hopkins there, who came in at shortstop last inning here, so he gets his first at bat, batting in that number 9 spot, but was in the game defensively as the shortstop and is their usual shortstop, in fact, and he takes the first pitch over for a strike. Shaw hitting at 200 for the year. 1 homer, 7 driven in, a couple of doubles. Right now he just needs a single would be fine for the Royals. And he drives it to right field. Dice coming on, it's down for a hit, and the tying run will score.
Wow, that was awfully close to being caught. In fact, I think it was in his glove for a second. Great effort out there in right field. You'll see the ball. Looks like it's going to fall in front of him. I thought it would too, but a good diving effort there. Just off the glove.
Dice, that ball did short hop anyway, it looked like, and he did a good job to make sure it didn't get all the way past him there. So Hopkins fights back to tie it up 4-4. Runner at first, and now a very dangerous hitter, Morgan Holmes, as they turn the order over here. Holmes 0 for 2 and was hit by a pitch. And that one's in the dirt. Young unable to block it, and Shaw will go to second.
Well, now you got quite a matchup. You got a great pitcher on the mound trying to close out the game here, and you got Hopkins' best hitter at the plate.
Holmes jumps on this one, and it'll be a fair ball down the line.
That's two.
That's going to be a ground rule double, so they'll score and go ahead 5-4 Royals. As it hopped out of play down that left field line. Holmes coming through in a big way as he smashes a double. And obviously that wild pitch becomes a big thing too, because instead of putting him at third, it scores him.
You ripped that ball. You can see that ball still going, rolling around back there. It's a line shot down the left field line there.
So Chiriboga will be the batter here for Hopkins. And they want to keep going here, too. You know, you don't be satisfied with taking the lead. There's still just one out. Strike there.
Yeah, Wayzata holding the runner with the shortstop, and it opens up the left side a lot. Obviously, they want to think he's going to push it to the right, but that makes a big left side of the infield hole.
Another one in the dirt, this time Young able to come up with it. Maybe Oberg a little bit too pumped up trying to finish this game off. He hadn't really shown any lack of control until this inning. Got a miss there. Peeking ahead to the bottom of the seventh, Oberg will lead it off. They have the 4, 5, 6 spots coming up for the Trojans. Time granted here. And a soft liner to right field, and that might score another run. Dice up with it. They're going to hold the runner at third as he slipped a little bit anyway, and Holmes will hang on there. Chiriboga, though, delivering a base hit for the Royals. And now first and third, one out, and Bobby DeWitt is going to come out, and I suspect probably make a pitching change here. See, Dice bobbled that one, but I think by that time they'd already thrown the stop sign up, and we are going to have a pitching change here. So they get to Oberg enough here in the seventh to take the lead, as Hopkins up 5-4 and threatening to add more, and Oberg will be lifted here. So we'll take a timeout here as the new pitcher getting set to warm up for the Trojans is Peyton Gallagher. It is 5-4 Hopkins. We'll be right back to Siebert Field.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to the shelterpetproject.org and meet a few who are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to the shelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Peyton Gallagher coming on here in relief for the Trojans. He has worked 24 innings this year. 3-0 record and a 2.04 ERA. Allowed 19 hits, walked 7, fanned 20 in those 24 innings. Worked as a starter and as a reliever, and we're going to have a runner coming on at first for Chiriboga. It will be Luis Filomovicius to run for the Royals as Ben Walleen gets set to step in here. Hopkins tied it up and then took the lead on that Holmes double down the left field line. And still threatening to add more here. There's just one out.
Yeah, and with the speed at first, you got some first and third possibilities as well.
Way outside with that one, and Young has to lunge out to get it. Yeah, I would be awful tempted to just run the guy from first here and see what happens.
Well, Felmavicius is as an infielder. He played for the Royals in the first half of the season a lot.
A little bit outside there. Young trying to frame it up, 2-0.
That's one of my favorite plays in baseball, is where he just leaves early at first base to take everybody by surprise, but that doesn't happen very often anymore.
And that one was outside as well. 3-0 now to Willeen.
Nothing fun on the base pass now. We got to make him throw strikes, see if they can load the bases here without a lot of effort.
That one's over for a strike. Willeen's had a couple of hits already today. He started the game on the hill for Hopkins, went the first 4. And up high for ball 4. Willeen works out a walk against Gallagher. And so they are loaded up now for Tommy Oth. Oth had a big hit in the 3rd as he doubled in a run. Outside for ball 1, and Hopkins right now can afford to really be patient here, make sure Gallagher can throw a strike.
Yeah, the corners are in, not for, I think for bunt as much as just trying to cut the runner off.
To second, they get one, a double clutch, and they will not get the second, so a run scores. And the lead is 2 now for Hopkins as Holmes able to come home on that force play.
Designated hitter.
Oth drives in a run 10. With a fielder's choice.
Luke Polyak.
See, it wasn't going to be a particularly easy one to turn no matter what, I don't think. And Isbell obviously had trouble getting it out of his glove, and Oth punctuating it with a safe sign as he crossed first base. So Luke Polyak will be the batter. 2 outs, runners at the corners. Runner is going, throw down to second. Whoa, it almost went through. Isbell came in and let that ball go, and I think it very much surprised Nickel and almost got by him.
Well, they're running a first and third place. Second baseman's coming in short like he might cut the ball off. So maybe didn't all communicate with each other, because he was going to act like he was going to catch it to try and hold the runner at third. And maybe the shortstop and second baseman didn't have the same play on.
So taken for 2-0 now. Polyak, who doubled in a pair in the 3rd inning, or singled in a pair in the 3rd inning. Outside with that one. That one's over for a strike. Chopper down to second. Isbell up with it, and they will get out of it. But what an inning for Hopkins as they take the lead. They score 3 runs in the inning on 3 base hits, and they will leave a couple. We go to the bottom of the 7th. It's now Hopkins 6 and Wayzata 4.
Race. Love is love.
Welcome back here to Siebert Field. Hopkins surging into the lead now, 6-4, trying to force a game 2 here as Wayzata gets set to bat in the bottom of the 7th. Bobby Wilson on the mound here for Hopkins as he finished off the last inning. Got the last 2 outs of that 6th, and now he will see Oberg, Young, and Rothstein, the scheduled hitters for the Trojans in the 7th. So Oberg was the DH officially in the batting lineup too, so he can stay in there as the hitter here. Drives it a long way to right field, a long run. They're not going to get there. And this one's to the wall. Oberg's going to check in at second with a leadoff double. So Wayzata maybe not done quite yet here. They start the 7th inning with an extra base hit.
Well, Will Oberg, if he can't get you one way, he'll get you another.
Now 3 for 3 with a walk. And you saw with nobody out and you're down 2, he, no thought even of trying to go for third there, wisely so. See if we're going to see a pitching change here, or this is a little, no, looks like a settling them down kind of thing more than anything.
Yeah, I was wondering what the base umpire is talking about. There is a rule about visits to the mound, so maybe they're just making sure they're having conversation. This is an official visit. If you come to the mound a second time, you're going to have to pull your pitcher. So
Tyler Young getting set to step in for the Trojans.
So Filimavicius ran in the last inning. Churboga did re-enter at second base. So Filimavicius' day is over today, but Kyle goes back into second base.
Young sacrifice fly in the 3rd inning. Drove in what was the go-ahead run. That one gets through, and Oberg will advance to 3rd. Obviously, maybe not quite as big of a deal with a 2-run lead as it would have been 1, but still, you got a guy all the way over to 3rd with nobody out here for the Trojans as they try and answer those Hopkins runs.
Yep, the ball was low, but something that the catcher has to take care of, in my opinion anyway.
That one is outside. 2-0 count here to Young. Drives it to center field. Should be deep enough to score the run. Oberg is tagging. Throw to the plate is wide and not in time, and it's a sacrifice fly. Wayzata now to within 6-5. Second sac fly of the game here for Young. But it is an all-important out for Hopkins. There's where that second run, they run their 3rd run, I guess, of the inning, but second go-ahead run helped them to now have a little cushion. Rothstein will be the batter. Back up the middle, and that one's going to be a base hit. So he follows up the sacrifice fly with a solid single, and Engdahl will bat, and we might have a pitching change coming perhaps for the Royals here. Looks like we will.
Yep, if he crosses the line there, he's got to pull him with the second to visit in the inning. So we'll see if we actually get somebody from the bench rather than from the field. It looks like we will.
Yeah. So a new pitcher coming in for Hopkins. We'll take a timeout and come back as Miles Halligan gets set to loosen up here for the Royals. It's 6-5 Hopkins.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Miles Halligan coming on here for Hopkins. He is making his 8th appearance as a pitcher. He's worked 21 innings, 2 wins, 2 losses, a 2.67 ERA, 15 hits allowed. He has walked 18, fanned 31. He had the start against Wayzata in that previous round that we saw on TV. Lasted just 2+ innings in that one. So Wayzata has scored a run here in the bottom of the 7th to pull within 6-5. A runner at first, 1 out, and Charles Engdahl stepping up. He is 0 for 3 today. Takes that pitch way up high for a ball. Pretty pressure-packed situation for the young pitcher here too to come in, but he has done a fair amount of pitching this year, obviously, for the Royals. Throw to first.
Yep, every little thing is a big deal here, isn't it?
Yeah, you want to keep that runner close over there, even though you're mainly concentrating on the hitter, but you want to give your team every opportunity to make plays in the field as well. 2-0 count now. And 3-0. So ball 4, Engdahl will draw the walk. 2 on now for Westermeyer.
Sam Westermeyer.
Westermeyer, pair of strikeouts today, but singled in the 5th, or excuse me, the 4th inning. Looks at ball 1. Royals fans groaning a little bit. Felt like that one might have been close enough to get the arm to go up, but not the case. 1-0. Drives this one to center field, but it's going to hang up, and it is caught for out number 2. Boy, that one off the bat looked like it might be a line drive that drops in, but he maybe got a little too much of it, and right at Willeen. In center for the 2nd out, and now Keegan Nickel will hit.
And again, it looks like he's playing pretty shallow, but remember, we're in a big ballpark. He's probably playing 300 feet from home plate, so Willeen played him perfectly.
Outside for a ball there to Nickel, who's 0 for 2 with a walk. Again, you talked about earlier how quickly things can change, and the feeling changed a lot by that ball not dropping in as compared to winding up in the glove. It all of a sudden becomes Hopkins feeling in command again.
Well, and Halligan's come in with a couple of good pitches here, having a tough time to find the plate for the first 7 pitches.
That one is down low and outside. 2-1 now to Nickel. That is outside, 3-1. And ball 4, so Nickel able to work out his 2nd walk in a row. And they are loaded up now for Danny Dice.
Well, kids never make it easy sometimes. It's certainly interesting here. He's thrown probably 10, 11 pitches, and only a couple of them have been for strikes, so it's good to have a conversation out there and get him settled down. Nice job by Morgan Holmes to do that. He's got his first baseman over there helping him out as well.
Sure, the message here is, I mean, easier said than done, but you know, relax and throw strikes. Trust your stuff. Yeah, they might hit the ball, but that's what we're out here for with our gloves on. Just the walks that you want to avoid in this spot if you can. Dice has walked a couple times already here. That one in the dirt. Holmes a nice block. Scampering back to third. Rothstein was worried a throw was coming. He went back in hard with a dive. And ball 2.
I'm a little surprised the Hopkins infield is now a little bigger, but they've got him where he wants to be, I'm sure.
All 3. So nowhere to put him here. Halligan needs to throw a strike or the tying run will come in. Dice heading the count 3-0. And he can't throw it in there, and Dice will draw a walk, and we are tied up. Wayzata scoring a run in unusual fashion there as they get the bases loaded walk. And Isbell will hit. Halligan trying to settle him down a little bit, so now 6-6.
Well, you got to wonder. Yep, I was going to say, here comes in, is it the right fielder? And we've had a couple of those this game out there. I'm not sure who's out there coming in right now, but
I believe it's Swanson. So Swanson will get the call in a pretty difficult spot. Bases loaded.
And Wyatt Nelson will re-enter and go out to right field, I presume. So if you've got your scorebook out, you probably need a little either white out or a little extra post-it note to get Wyatt back out there in right field.
Now pitching for the Royals, number 11, Joey Swanson.
So Swanson will come on in relief here for Hopkins.
Well, you talk about the swings that can happen in emotions and energy. We had a time this inning where we're all pretty tense in the ballpark, and then it calmed down after that line shot to center field. Then we walked a couple people, and now we're back on the edge of your seat here. One more run for Wayzata sends them to the state tournament for the second time to defend their state title. So this is a lot of emotion, a lot of pressure here for the Royals, and a lot of excitement and possible explosion of excitement for the Trojans.
That's in the ebbs and flows emotionally too. I think coming into the 7th inning, if you had told Hopkins we're going to have to go to an 8th, they would have taken that. They would have said, okay, we're going to come back and tie it at least. That would have been acceptable to them. But once they took that 2-run lead, then I'm sure their thoughts turned the other direction. So Isbell will hit. By the way, for Swanson, he has pitched in 4 games, but only 4 2/3 innings, allowed 6 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. He's 0-0 with an ERA of 3. So Isbell going to go out on a limb and say he might be taking at least 1 pitch and maybe more.
Yeah, I think you're right there too.
Even though it's a different pitcher now, but I know they probably didn't really want to have to pull Halligan right away, but just he was having so much trouble locating the ball that they kind of felt they had no choice. That one taken for a ball for Isbell.
Well, you're not playing for anything but right now. It's about right now. What are you doing for me right now in an elimination game?
Isbell swinging in, and it is a fair ball, and Wayzata wins it. Section championship repeat for the Trojans as Isbell steps up and delivers game-winning hit, and Engdahl will score the game-winning run. Not exactly the fashion they had in mind there. They thought with their ace going out for the 7th that they were going to shut it down in style, but instead Hopkins got 3. Wayzata answers in the bottom of the 7th, and Isbell coming through. And I think they're probably glad that it came on a hit rather than another walk. It just feels better when you do it that way. Engdahl pumped up as he scores, and Isbell delivering that game-winning hit for the Trojans. So Hopkins kind of feeling like the rug got pulled out from under them. They were probably feeling pretty good that they were going to force a second game, but instead it is Wayzata winning to advance the state for the 4th time in school history.
Yeah, this is what makes athletics so awesome, is you've got exuberance with the gold jerseys on and almost disbelief for some with the blue jerseys on, thinking that they were coming up. They broke through on the best pitcher, and then watch that bottom of the 7th happen in front of them in slow motion.
So congratulations to the Trojans as they get set to head to the tournament again here for the 3rd time in the last 4 seasons, or 5 seasons anyway, the 4th time in school history for Wayzata. So congratulations as they will pick up the victory here in kind of classic fashion here on the bottom of the 7th inning. Congratulations to the Royals too. They got a young team and had, you know, a pretty solid season. They get to a section final. They were right there to almost force another game, and doesn't quite happen, but hats off to them too. So we hope you've enjoyed today's telecast here from Siebert Field. Again, your final score in a wild one: Wayzata 7, Hopkins 6. So long from Siebert Field.